I want to make a video here about how I use the Option Stalker platform to find my trades, and also how I designate what is a good trade, what isn't a good trade, how I decide on my setups, how I enter my trades, how I exit my trades, and so on and so forth. Um, I'm going to review some trades from the end of August because in recent days the market's been kind of shitty. But I've got some good trades from the end of August to share, so I'm just going to go into that real quick here. So let's start with the beginning, the first trade here. Um, on August 30, I went long Dash. First of all, before I get into this, let me talk about the scanner first. So I use a couple of the preset scanners here. I find that they are plenty good enough. So I use Green Rail Flush, which means that all time frames it's green. So the 5 minute, the 15 minute, the daily, whatever, it's all green. So when I'm looking at something like, okay, it says apples on Green Rail Flush. Okay, daily's kind of soft, but I mean, it could be worse. But clearly here, this is yesterday. We have strength on the 5 minute chart because if you compare, um, you could see, let me see here. We want to look for where it showed its strength towards the market. Where do we get a dip here? 1205. Yeah, so you see right here, the market is pretty much setting its high of the day at 12:30. Apple kept going up well past 12:30, hitting the high of the day at 1:30. It's clear relative strength. This is the kind of stock you want to be in. Now, that I would say maybe for a day trade though, because I'm not a big fan of this 5 minute chart or this daily chart. Um, but regardless, I'm getting off topic again. So I use Green Rail Flush. I use heavy buying, which is a good scanner to use at the beginning of the day because these are showing what the most volume is going into on the buy side. Relative strength 30, that shows what has been strong for the last 30 minutes. Um, then I use Red Hot sometimes to see what are the hottest stocks of the day. And then Bull Run typically are things that are just green nonstop. This is a bad example, but this is a good example. Um, and this is from yesterday. So this is showing like all of these green bars in a row. That would be something that's on Bull Run. Um, so let's look at Dash on the 30th of August. So let's see here. You can see the daily chart. It is breaking out above this long green bar. I was looking mainly to day trade it pretty quick. I was looking, let's see. It's probably looking like right there. I don't have the actual trade in front of me, so I can't tell you, but I can look, back here to pull up what it looked like on that day, and we can look at how I entered it. Let's see, that's the 29th. Okay. So what I like to do is I like to line up my entries with a bullish cycle on SPY. So basically, with our method, that's the one option method taught by Pete. What we use is this indicator that he created called 1OP. So we're looking for confirmation of a move here with the market. I'm not taking a trade if the market's not decent. So here, this is up until probably around here. I would say it's not even worth trading, and I say that because, you've got the open, which you should never be trading the open. You got a big candle, okay, but what's happening here? This indicator here called 1OP, it's crossing down. That tells us, okay, we should expect a pullback of some kind, or at least, at the very least, we should be waiting to see what happens when it crosses back up because this could cross down and nothing happen, and that's great. But as we can see here, that's not at all what happens. So we get the cross right here. That's at around 9:55, 10 o'clock. And as you can see here, that gives us an advanced warning. How many indicators you see like that? 9:55, we have an advance warning. Okay, so here it crosses down. I know. I'm not touching this. I'm waiting. Boom, red bar, huge red bars. Okay, what does that tell me? That tells me that I need to wait because clearly there's some downward selling pressure here. Now, I always am looking at the open or the high and the low of the last day as well as the open. So, or the close, sorry. So here we have the close of the previous day being around here and we gapped up. So what does that tell me? Okay, I want to watch for a gap reversal. So this is all stuff I'm thinking about that putting into words takes a long time, but it really doesn't take it doesn't take a long time to think about this stuff. So as soon as this closes here, um, that sets the point where I'm going to be watching the next day if we get a gap up or a gap down. I'm always looking for that gap fill because, in my experience, the market or the stock tends to try to fill that gap unless it's something ridiculous like, a $10 gap, then that takes a little bit more effort. But regardless, I see this big tail here. So okay, I'm thinking again, here you're thinking, if you don't have 1 OP, right? Because I have 1 OP, so I know that I had to be cautious there. But if you don't have that, you're looking and thinking bullish here. We weren't, but it makes sense based on the price action. Okay, we get this big reversal. Now a novice might be like, okay, well now I'm thinking bearish. These 3 huge red bars in a row. Okay, well you'd be wrong again because we get the big wick off from the gap close or the gap fill from the previous day. And then what do we have? We have a bullish cross all the way from the low here. That happens around 10:45. 10:45 here, as you can see, isn't showing much, but we never get that cross down until way further over here. And so the market then starts moving up. I believe, and I don't have it in front of me, but I believe that I took Dash somewhere around here. So 11:25, 11:25. Okay, yeah. And then I didn't take any kind of huge gain because, like I said before, I'm looking for barely anything on this stock, really. I was just looking for something over here from the open of this candle. I like to look at previous days like that where I say, okay, it's sold off from this point. That's like a soft resistance level. It's sold off from this point. That's like a soft resistance level. Same thing here. Same thing here. These are a little bit more significant since they have huge tails. Same thing here. Same thing here. And this is a little bit different because it closed here. But still, this tail means that it's sold off. It got all the way up here and then sold off. So that tells me that, this up here is a danger zone, if you will. All right, let's look at the next stock. Let me see here. Apple. So Apple was an interesting one. I don't need the 5-minute to tell you this because this is an easy one. So what are we seeing here? This is a classic pattern right here. We've got a gap fill attempt. Now, here, after earnings, we had, that's what this, by the way, this A right here means earnings are after hours on that day. So the next day we have a huge gap down after earnings. Okay. So here we've got to close into the gap. So the high of that day is right here. We got to close above it. So that's a pretty powerful pattern right there that I like to look for. Now, I got a bit greedy on this one, not on this specific trade, but I did get out because there was another company, I forget which, that had earnings. So I took profit originally on my calls, and then I got back in because I wanted to see. Hold on a second. So I wanted to close this gap right here. I wanted to get to like it was actually on the 31st. Yeah, it was on the 31st. So I got back in on that day. In retrospect, maybe this candle was a warning sign. Oh well, I sold I think on the 7th for a loss. But that happens, losses come up. But what I'm looking for typically, I always look at the daily chart before I enter a stock. I want to make sure that I'm getting some kind of technical confirmation that this is a good move. Whether it's a move into the gap like this, whether it's breaking out above a compression, like I'm sure I can find one right here. Like this one's decent. I mean, it pulled back, sure, but like it still stayed above this compression right here. If it sold back into this, I'd feel more wary, but it stayed in it. Like let's say it broke out here and I bought at the at close to the high of the day. If it sold all the way back into this range, I'd be a little nervous, but it didn't. And the next day did the exact same thing, and then boom, take off. You know, so you're looking for that kind of confirmation on the daily chart. Everything for me and my trading is completely based on the daily chart. If it doesn't look good on the daily chart, I'm not messing with it. Um, let's see here. Let's look at the next one. So the next one is Tesla. So I bought Tesla on the 30th as well. Let's take a look at that. All right, so as you can see here, we've got the 50 SMA. It's a major resistance level. And I most likely bought it above this level. And I don't know what I was looking for. I was probably looking for something like this or even a little bit around there. Probably not though, because I don't know. Tesla to me can be scary. It's it's a big stock. It's volatile. It seems to have a mind of its own. It's very news. It's affected by news a lot. So I try not to get overzealous with this stock. Like if I was trading like Apple and this kind of setup happened where it broke above major resistance, I'd probably hold it and just say, "Hey, I'm going for this level or I'm going for this level up here." But Tesla, I'd rather take my profits when I can get them because this stock has a mind of its own. It's not as bad as a stock like Boeing or Enphase, but it's annoying. So I try to take profits on that one. Meta on the 31st, that was a good trade I had on that one. Um, this one took a while to pan out though, because I was looking for a break above this 50 SMA resistance, and I was looking for it to test this level, which it did. And I'll explain this trade. So as you can see on the 31st, that's that green candle that sold off pretty hard right there. It clearly pulled back off that level, and you would think like, okay, well, are you going to sell? And I'm not, because here's the thing: we sold off hard here. Major green candle right here that it built off from immediately, and then it's like, okay, we're going to test that level. Didn't work. Test this level again. Huge buying off this level here. Huge buying. This is a ridiculous candle. This candle opened at 286.13, tested, or yeah, that is $10. Jeez. And it tested a $10 move down and bounced off from that, ended up closing $9 from the low. $9. That is huge. So it's like, okay, I trust this support level now. It's been tested twice. I trust that level. And then here I was looking for a break above, and I was thinking, okay, we get up to here. Didn't end up panning out that day, but the daily chart stayed strong. Let's look at SPY daily chart. So here, let's pull up the daily. Now, August 31st, what happened after that? It sold off pretty decently. That's what established our current range. From the open here, open here, open here, we've been stuck in this range. What happened on Meta? Didn't do that. Had a red day, sure, but it didn't sell off to here. If it moved down to here, I'd be a lot more nervous holding it. But it stayed hugging that 50 SMA. So I ended up closing that on 9/7. This big, huge candle here. I had an order to sell up here. I was using options, but I calculated in my head of what the profit would be, and I ended up getting out of that on that day for a nice, looks like $2 gain on that move, which was nice. And as you can see, it still is pretty strong. Um, that's actually, yeah, I'm actually in that right now, if I'm thinking about it. I went long again on last Thursday, which, you know, it's not looking as fun now, but the reason why I'm still in it is because I saw this line here on 10p. This is called one of the automatic trend lines that Pete added to the platform a couple months ago. They have become an absolute staple of how I do my analysis. Anytime I see one of these lines, they're not necessarily algo lines, but they are certainly trend lines. Every time I see them, I respect the hell out of it. I see that and I go, you know what? If it's in the way, like on Google here, this line's been here for a while. I was thinking of going along this day, saw this line, I was like, you know what? Never mind. Same thing yesterday. Saw that, I was like, not gonna touch it. So I respect those lines a lot. Um, and here it bounced off from it. I was really considering closing it for a loss here, but it bounced off that line, and I'm leaning on that strength. So I'm statistically, based off my analysis and based off my experience, these tend to work out. So I'm still in that trade. But anyway, I don't need to go into every single trade here. Um, I try to keep my process simple. When I find a stock, let's look at pre-earning, or not pre-earnings, pre-open gains. Let's see. I don't usually look at that, but it's the morning, so why not? Let's look at CVX, Chevron. So here, I'm just gonna break this down really quick. So if I pull this up, my brain goes immediately wrong. I don't like it, but I'll explain why. So right here, daily chart. Look at all these lines. Who wants to buy something up against all these lines? If I'm going long this stock, it better be above all these lines. If it's up here, like all the way here, I'm like, okay, I can see a path to success on that. But with all that resistance above, hell no, I'm not touching that. Let's find another one. RCL. Yeah, same thing. Looks terrible. Needs to get above the 50 SMA, and ideally this candle. This big candle needs to get overcome. I don't like that it's down here. HMC, volume's terrible. ARRY, again, no. Mm. Doing this real time, so I have no idea what looks good and what doesn't. I'm just trying to find an example of something that looks good. This is probably a low volume ticker. Let me pull it up over here. Off screen, I've got a better way of checking the volume. That's actually not bad. I've never traded this stock before, but as you can see, it gapped up here and it's been building off from that. It's above an SMA. I don't like this, but you get the idea that like it's above like all these resistance levels. There's really nothing in the way. You have this big red candle, sure, but it's better than the other ones I was looking at. Apple, no good. The problem is the market's in a slump right now. This is okay. AFRM. This was good yesterday, I believe, or the day before. I don't remember. Or the day before was Sunday, so on Friday. Um, Again, like I said, I respect these lines. If it's above this line, I like it. I like it a lot because what has the market been doing? We got the daily chart for the market here, sideways, nothing. And this has just been building on strength. That's exactly what you want to see. And this platform makes it super easy. For the last 2 years, I joined this community in June of 2021. I have never found a better service than this. I use I use this scanner more than anything else. It just makes it so easy. Green Royal Flush is always fantastic. We're in the pre-market right now, so it doesn't have, it shows the real-time updated data. As soon as 9:45 hits, I've got probably the best stocks to trade all day. It populates, it just continuously refreshes with the best stocks. And if it's not on there, it's probably not something that I'm going to be trading. So I think I pretty much failed at not rambling so much. Um, but that's generally my process for entry, for stock selection, um, and how I use market first with 1OP. Um, I plan to make more videos, but I'm trying to make a quicker one here. So hopefully that's informative. I in the Discord, people are always asking me how I choose my targets. You know, that's how I do it. I look at a stock, I look at its levels like this, and I go, okay, that's a decent level. It's a high previously that it then gapped down from. That's not bad. If I was taking it long here, which is not a bad long at all, I'd be looking for here as a target. It's the same thing on a stock that's $20 as the same thing as on a stock that's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Um, like, uh, like here, I'd be targeting here. And what do you know, right? What does that look like? I'm targeting 452.77. It hits 453.45 and sells off. So my target's not far off from the actual point in which it starts selling off from. That's super common in my analysis. I always find that my targets generally are where a stock will sometimes start turning around. And to me, that's just further confirmation that I'm doing the right thing. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll try to get to them. But this is the general idea of what I try to do. It's pretty simple. I try not to complicate it. And that's it. Thank you. Super quick side note on addition to that, I did not like how the scanner was portrayed in my video. So here is we're at 9:57 a.m., nearly half an hour after the open. Let me show you how powerful this is. All right, so remember I said red royal flush, net, boom, perfect, Roku, boom, right across that line. As soon as it gets through it, that's a great short. SQ coming up on that line below it, great short. Roblox, again, same thing as the other two. MGM, beautiful. UPS, fantastic, filling the gap. Nike, great selling, nothing below, great short. UPST, beautiful. Could use some more volume. This has been pretty tight lately, though, so I probably wouldn't trade that one. TSM needs to get through that line. Etsy's been holding these lows here. I would like to see more selling pressure like the rest of them. But that's all you need. These ones at the top are all you need. You don't need any of this. You don't need anything else. This is all you need. TXZ not as good as the other ones, but that's all you need. Half the time I don't even look at these scanners. Before Pete came up with these red royal flush and green royal flush scanners, I always use relative strength 30 or relative weakness 30. As you can see, Tesla, decent. But like, what's the element that's missing here? Can you guess? It's the daily chart. Go to red royal flush, net. Oh wow, look, great daily chart for shorting. SQ, great daily chart for shorting. That's the missing component. So this, I feel like, is a good showcase of this scanner, so I wanted to add that in.